entertained? Are you not entertained?
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Why so serious?
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Well, I'm not good at it. I want you to get mad. You gotta say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Round Table. I'm Richie Byrne, and with me, as always,
Mark Rigodana.
What's up, buddy? Look at your
Hey.
beard. You look very neat. Look at how neat your beard is.
I know. I trimmed it down. I got shows this weekend. I got to look good. I'm
You
opening
look
for
great.
Voss.
Oh, you're opening for Voss?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. We're at the Manchunk Opera House.
Well,
For
not many people know how good a singer Voss is.
he's going to do some Wagner. It's going to be very nice.
You know what they say? It ain't over till Rich Voss sings.
We got a really cool show today. I'm really excited.
How about the show? It was your idea, and I love this idea.
So it came to me when I was working with Rich, and he was actually he FaceTimed with Colin Quinn during our show, and I just thought, and I was sitting there about how much of an influence Tough Crowd had on comedy. The early 2000s, this show hit the scene, and it changed everything. I mean, it really influenced how comedians worked, how audience looked at comedians. It was such a great show, and I thought it'd be cool to have some guys from Tough Crowd. Rich had a great idea of bringing on like a young comic who grew up watching it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Well, that technically could be you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was doing comedy at the time, but I still don't know if I would be able to get on that show if it was still running.
Right.
But we have such a great show. We got an awesome lineup of people and different perspectives, and I think we should just dive right in.
Yeah, because we don't know how long these guests are going to last.
They might log off any minute.
Carrie's going to hold on to the phone, and you never know when Voss will leave. So well, let's get them out here. You do the intros.
Okay, so the first guy we're going to bring out, really excited. I get to open for him Saturday in Jim Thorpe. Folks, Rich Voss is here. Rich Voss. We deserve it. Hey, at least we get to say he was on. Not for long.
You know what? That's more than I think we're going to get from Carrie, but let's give it a try.
I'll let you introduce the next comic.
Guys, she's wonderful. She's talented. She's funny as hell, and she's a good friend. Give it up for Carrie Karavas.
Carrie.
Hi.
Did that asshole leave?
Yeah.
What a dick. He's
I know.
such a dick.
I know.
Here he comes, this dick. I was going to say he was going to be gone long. He's too much of a ham.
I think he had to tend to the farm behind him.
Yeah.
Hey Richie, I'm looking at your pigment. Are you morphing into a scallop? What? You look like sand. Carrie looks amazing. She always does. Carrie, how much fun do we have in Holland, huh? Or was it London or Holland?
3 times. Remember I used to wake you up every morning, 7:30?
Oh, what a fucking asshole.
This is what I was. This was the best. Every morning I get up. I don't know why the jet lag at 7:30. So I called them all up. I called Norton up. I'm like, hey, you want to go for breakfast? He's like, no, I'm sleeping. And then 10 minutes later, they'd all be down. So I did this every day at 7:30 for a freaking week. And I'm talking about who was there with us. Everybody. It was Wally Collins, Norton, the Ted Alexandro, Kennedy, they were all there. Lisa Lampanelli, but I didn't call her because she always got her food to her room.
But then you used to come and knock on my door.
But wait, yeah. So the night before we were leaving, finally at the end of the week, Voss goes to me the night before, Karavas, I don't want breakfast. Don't fucking call me. Leave me alone. I'm good. I want to sleep in tomorrow. I call him at 7:30 in the morning. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you." What did you say to me? Because you had to walk across the room for the phone. Remember?
Yeah.
It wasn't by the bed.
I'll tell you, those breakfasts in Europe, Holland, England, mainly, they had these buffets, this, European,
An egg.
but it wasn't the breakfast. At some of them were pretty good. I don't know about the one where we were staying. We were in Rotterdam, staying right in Rotterdam.
What were you guys doing in Europe?
Fucking.
We were painting fucking houses, you jackass. 10 comics. What are you doing in Europe?
It was an orgy.
Yeah. You know what? We went over to the Reich Museum and we fucking night watch after that guy slashed it with a knife.
What was the tour for?
Wait, it was a festival, a comedy festival, and Todd Barry and Ted Alexandro had one show together. I don't remember what the name. Every show, we were the Danger Zone, I think.
What happened?
I got a phone call.
We also taped the TV show Comedy Factory.
Yes.
We had a TV show out there.
That was a different time.
Oh yeah. Oh, they during the fest. Oh, we just did we didn't do the TV show during the festival.
No, it was another time. That was Amsterdam.
Yeah. I was there so many times. I went there once. This is a funny story. I went there once. It was me and Bonnie, and my daughter Raina. She was like 4 years old at the time. So at the show, we're walking to the show, me, Bonnie, and Raina, and we run into Tom Rhodes. And Tom Rhodes was talking. I've known him forever. Hey, talking. Then he looks at Bonnie, hello, and walks away, right? But we had so that night in the hotel room, Raina's going, my impression of Tom Rhodes. Richard, you're the best. I love you. You're great. And then looks at Bonnie and walks away. Tom Rhodes, like, hello, Bonnie. And then it was funny from a fucking 4-year-old.
So roasting runs in the family.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Carrie and I've had to known you for what, 25 years, 20 years?
Yeah.
A long time. And we used to go to Kravas' restaurant and eat sometimes after shows.
Yeah.
Down over there by Great Papaya.
West 3rd Street. We were on West 4th. We walked around the corner.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Big gay Nick's in the house.
Attell used to come in and drink. I used to bartend on Monday nights, and Attell used to come in and drink with Brennan, so we'd hang out. Or sometimes Attell would come in alone, and somebody would see Attell, like Bisconti. He'd walk in, he's like, hey, what's going on? Not even a minute later, Attell would go, leave the money and walk out. And he's like, I'm like, you walked in. Bisconti. Gino Bisconti was like the buzzkill of the bar.
What do you mean? What do you mean was?
No, but Attell would see him and just like get up and leave. It was the best.
Did you ever date any comics back in the day? Did you date a comic? I'm trying to remember.
I didn't really date any. I kind of was dating this one open micer, and the best line ever from Keith Robinson. He goes, when he comes over to bang it, does he have to bring 2 people?
Oh.
No, I kind of dated a little bit after Walter. Remember Walter?
Kind of, yeah.
After he was like my boyfriend at the time, but I kind of dated a little bit Ducharme.
Al?
Mm.
Wait, isn't that the one who married Bernadette?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He seems like the complete opposite
of me.
Of you. I mean, pale, kind of a Richie type paleness. Pigmentless.
He was he was a nice guy, but then he was like telling me that I drink too much coffee, and I'm like, what?
Coffee?
Are you sick?
I used to have girls tell me I smoke too much crack. Never coffee.
I mean, I don't drink, I don't smoke. And those in my, he's like, you drink too much coffee. I'm like, bro, we're not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. This ain't gonna happen. So
Richard, do you want to bring out Seth?
Yeah, this is kind of a different guest. And Rich Voss is really excited about it. He had nothing to say about it backstage. But this is we're doing a show on Tough Crowd, and this was the stage manager for Tough Crowd. And he's one of my dear friends in TV. He was the stage manager at Dr. Oz for 10 years while I was there, and I thought he'd have a good take on some of the things that went on since he witnessed everything. So let's bring him out. Seth Melman. Give it up to Seth Melman.
Seth Melman.
Thank you, Richie.
Hi, Seth.
Thank you. I'm great, man. Great. Really quickly, I got to say, if it was not for Colin, you and I would not have met.
Really? Why?
No, because on Colin is where I met the to-be director of Dr. Oz.
Oh, really?
We were both filling in at Colin because both the regular people were not available. So at the end of the show, the director comes up to me and says, you know, would you like to come in and fill on some of the other shows? He was doing, believe it or not, Ricky Lake at the time.
We believe it.
Yeah, Ricky Lake. And so I went to work on Ricky Lake. And then eventually when the same director, Scott, got offered Dr. Oz, I said, Scott, if you're going to do it, I'll do it. And that's where Richie and I met.
That is where we met. Yeah, season 2.
All because of Colin.
Seth,
all because of Colin.
I have a question for you. If you're like the stage manager for like a Dr. Oz, and this isn't like negative, but it's the same show every day. So, I mean, isn't the stage pretty much the same every day? Like, I mean, what's the difference day by day?
The difference is, first of all, Dr. Oz. Every day. Okay. Yeah. There are parts of him that are the same, but depending on what he did the night before, okay, like if it was some big event, or I don't know if anybody knows, but last couple of weeks he's been hosting Jeopardy.
Yeah.
So first of all, he changes every single day.
Right.
Okay. And then the guests changed every day. And at the time when Richie and I were doing it, we would have a lot of people who came out of the audience.
Yes.
And those people threw everything into a
monkey wrench.
Yeah, a monkey wrench.
And I was no prize.
Yeah, and Richie was horrible. Okay.
So you were basically busy every day. It was like nonstop stressful work to do that, right?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Absolutely.
It was crazy. It was really crazy.
I mean, he had to deal with so much. I mean, there was just so much that goes on backstage on that show. It's unbelievable.
Is that the kind of show that would make you lose your hair? I mean,
yes. You can see this. Ask Richie. He'll tell you I had longer hair when I started the show. Okay? I was 50 years younger. Okay.
Yeah. Seth's only 32. So
it was nothing like dealing with you, Rich, and Patrice, and everybody else on Colin, which was, I could have done Colin for the rest of my life, that show. That was just enjoyable for me.
It was my favorite thing, TV show, anything I've done in this business. One, we filmed a TV show in New York, so I drove from Jersey, 45 minutes. Two, I got to do it with my friends.
Right.
3, we got decent money for good craft table, and it was a no pressure show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't a lot of pressure, because if something's not working, you just turn to the next guy, go, hey, asshole, you're right. You could just whatever. It's like when you're hosting a show. If you're hosting a show and things aren't going as well, and you're the host, you go, okay, now our next act.
Yeah.
So,
it was great. And
wait, now I have a question. So I don't know if this actually happened. Did Colin lose the show because of his mumbling kind of voice? But did Geraldo get offered the show?
Geraldo did a pilot to do that show, and it went like 3 episodes. Here's what I don't know, but there's many different reasons. Like Jon Stewart show would come on before Colin. Then Colin came on after Jon Stewart, and they're both topical. What do you call it?
Wait, who's Jon Stewart?
Social
Who's
issues.
Jon Stewart?
You know, they're both.
He produces Legends in Vegas.
This could be wrong. Don't quote me. I'm not bad mouthing. And I don't know if this is true. I mean, I could call Colin now and ask, but so Colin would come on. I mean, Jon Stewart would come on, then Colin. Now they're both doing topical pop culture news, whatever going on that day, and then Jon Stewart's rerun would follow Colin. Right now, if someone if someone didn't see Jon Stewart's first show, say they turn on Colin and then watch a rerun of Jon Stewart, they're already seeing some of the material before Jon Stewart on Colin's show because it's maybe some of the same topical stuff. So that's just my theory that Jon Stewart should get rid of him. No.
But then Colbert took that spot, didn't it?
That was
years later.
Guys, I hate to do this, but we have to switch over to Twitch only. We're still on Facebook right now. So just give us a second. We're going to switch over to Twitch and we'll continue the conversation. You don't have to do a thing. Just stay where you are. So, guys, if you want to see us, switch over to Twitch.
Oh, I wish Twitch would hit you in the head. I don't know why. I don't know why it was canceled. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
we had a good 2-year run. I'll tell you that, and it was great.
I was on with Mario Cantone. So what had happened was the show starts and a question was asked. I don't remember. And Mario does 15 minutes without a breathe, without a breath. And all of a sudden, was it you that came out and said, okay, here's what's going to happen now. We're going to redo the whole episode with Mario. We got to take it down a notch. So we had to do you remember that?
I have to, just in full disclosure here, Richie, I actually came on as a fill-in for another stage manager, Lynn Finkel. Okay. So I don't know, Rich, if you remember Lynn or not, or Carrie, you remember Lynn. But so we were there at different times. So I didn't do every show. I did a lot of shows, especially I did some in season 1 and a lot in season 2. But I did not do every show. Lynn did a good portion of the show.
Okay, so this particular show, Mario Cantone went off and they let him. And then all of a sudden they stopped the show. Everybody comes in. They had a little bit like a talk. And then they turn around and look at Mario and they go, we're going to start the show again. We're starting it fresh. And this time, take it down a notch.
I was going to ask, what was you guys' tactic if somebody started taking over the show? Somebody kept trying to force their hand.
I don't think there was tactic. I think Colin would just cut him off, or another.
Yeah, it was Colin.
Or another comic would say, "Shut up."
Right. Exactly. Yeah, Rich is right. Rich is exactly right.
Well, didn't he have that thing where he'd put a comic in the bullpen and bring a different comic out if they were?
That was the second year when he was experimenting.
Right.
That was hilarious, though.
Yeah, it was funny.
You
I was sent there many times. If a joke didn't work or whatever, scram.
I was on with Patrice O'Neill and Norton and Mario. So it was pretty wild. A great show. Actually.
It was weird. See that show, it was on the 200 show. I jumped out of a cake, and they all threw, and I had tassels on my titties, and they were all throwing cake at me and stuff.
Big Gay Nick wrote, "That sounds awesome."
It was so much fun. It got heated at times.
Yeah.
And I mean, the clip is famous with Geraldo and Leary. It's a famous clip.
Tell the story, though, Rich.
Well, here's the thing. They went at it. They went at it on the show. And Geraldo, let's say it was a roast battle, but personal, right? I guess you could say that. And Geraldo pretty much did a little better than Leary. And Leary's a big star. And to Leary's, benefit or whatever, after the show, and Leary kind of was in. I mean, Geraldo kind of beat him down a little. And in the show, Colin said to Leary, "Do you want me to take that out?" And Leary said, "No, keep it in." So so that's pretty fucking, big of him.
Respect.
I think it's big on Colin's part too, Rich.
What's that?
I think it's big on Colin's part because that became everybody was talking about that after it happened, and if he cut it out, nobody would be talking about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and Colin had to know that. So for him to say, "Hey, you want me to take it out," knowing that it was probably going to get him press, is a big thing too.
Well, listen, so when you're doing anything in life, in this business or life, if you have a friend and your friend, something negative happens, you're going to try to help that person out or, make it right. So Colin put friendship before business.
Yeah.
Which makes him a good, a better person than anybody on this Fly By Night podcast.
Well, we won't cut nothing out.
No, why would you? You need all the fucking material you can. You haven't read a fucking book that's behind you. Okay. Yeah. Well, I know.
They're not even real books.
Get one of those yellow books, How to Form a Punchline. Anyhow, so, I mean, that was a famous clip. It was a famous clip.
Now, is there ever a real beef that continued on? Like, I feel like with that one...
I don't think Don Myrera was a big fan of Patrice after the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of Patrice. For me, I was on the show with Patrice and Dat Fan came on. And we, it was after Last Comic, and we beat him down really bad. And I saw the video years later, and I go, this is fucking horrible. And I sent him an apology. I go, you didn't deserve that. There was no reason we should have done it. And I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm not. But
you should.
He, as a young comic, didn't deserve to come on that show and have me and Patrice attack him. Patrice couldn't apologize because he was dead. So,
Dat Fan won that argument.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, Patrice died?
I think that show, I think it was a gateway. I know as a fact, it was a gateway for a lot of young new comics to express themselves without barriers, without, to come out and, not saying you have to be dirty or racist or homophobic or whatever. It's just saying you can walk the tight rope or just be, you know what I mean? You don't have to do that observational type comedy. I think it showed that certain comics could be, there's great comics that talk from their head and there's great comics that talk from their heart. And I think that show taught a lot of comics how to be real. You know what I mean?
Look, if you have that other show in LA, Byron, what's his name?
Byron.
Yeah, you got all those. It's so boring. I can't watch that show. And then you took off Colin Quinn's show, which was, was great. If you compare both shows.
Well, Byron Allen buys the space. He buys that time slot and gets the advertisers. It's not. He doesn't have a network deal. He has an infomercial that he turned into a show. And Byron Allen, you go there with your jokes set up. He's like, look at one person. So you just got back from Afghanistan.
Yeah, it's like feed him the line, the lead in.
Yeah,
awful setup.
It's horrible.
Yeah, but he's made a fortune out of it. It's two different shows.
Yeah.
Colin's show.
Colin's more like Bill Maher's show in a way.
Yeah, and Bill Maher was the first, but Colin took it to a different
Yeah.
a different direction. You can't say level, direction.
Direction.
Because everything Colin does, and I'm not saying it, he's fucking brilliant. His one-man shows.
He's
Right.
great.
He's just
Seth, we went to his. Remember, Seth?
Yeah.
We went to one man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to all of them.
Yeah.
just a brilliant. We shot that special this summer on HBO Max. You know, at the drive-in that I hosted and he headlined it. He directed it. You know, it was a comedy drive, whatever. It was on HBO Max, and what he was going for, not really the comedy in front of the drive-in with it. He was going for the backstage because he knew that me, Keith, Bonnie, Bobby, and all that the backstage was going to be gold. He knew it.
Yeah.
Just from our personalities and us. So everything he has listen. He's a brilliant. I don't like him, but he's a brilliant guy. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask Rich if I can. Carrie and Rich, did you guys ever see Comics Only with Paul Provenza? Did you ever see that show?
Don't you mean the one on Showtime?
I don't even remember. It
Not
was
the
my
Green
very
Room.
first gig in television. My very
That
first
was in
job.
Comedy Central way back.
Yes, it was on Comedy Central way back when.
You did
right?
Comics Only?
I did Comics Only with Paul Provenza.
I never saw that.
Okay.
That show made me laugh so hard. I watched an old
It
clip.
was in the same vein as Colin. Didn't have
It was about
Colin's kind of
material.
edge. It didn't have the edge because it was 20 now 40 years ago maybe. But it was very cool. It was Paul Provenza and comics. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but comics. Very
Even
fun.
comics in the audience, right? Like he'd just turn and there'd be like Robin Williams would be in the audience.
That's the Green Room.
No, that's the green room.
Oh,
This
the green room. Right.
This was like
right.
80s.
no audience, no live audience.
Right.
From what I remember.
I was
Just-
laughing because there's a clip of him talking to Bill Hicks, and Bill Hicks is talking about smoking. Provenza's like, yeah, I just can't smoke. It's just a thing. I can't smoke. I can't. And meanwhile, every time I've hung out with Provenza, he's chain smoking, throwing up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that was kind of a lead up to Colin. It didn't quite have what Colin had, but it was a kind of a lead up to it.
Colin's show was like the Rat Pack,
Yes,
there was
right.
Dean Martin, there was, the five guys. They were the guys that were the Rat Pack, there was, the other people coming after them are, I find like the Patrice O'Neills, even you, Voss, I'll put you in the group.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Patrice, Geraldo,
They were
Norton,
amazing.
and
Amazing.
Keith. They were
Yeah.
the regular. They were the regulars.
That
I
was
was,
a
a, I was a semi-regular. I did 35 episodes as a semi-regular.
That's how you got your teeth done.
I got both.
I know.
$70,000.
Well, they made them too big because it sounds like you got marbles in your mouth.
Yeah. Well, good. What I got in my mouth compared to yours doesn't shoot anything.
Look at my teeth, Evan. My teeth, I didn't get ripped off.
Yeah.
Mine was-
What?
Mine was
Those are,
30,000.
are those implants?
No.
These are implants.
Well, would you lose all your teeth from the crack?
Right. Listen to me. First
Oh,
of
I'm sorry, it was meth.
No, it was freebase. All right. And when I said implants, I wasn't talking about your teeth.
Oh, really? Really? I wish I had implants.
So everybody around you, you look fat. You don't need implants. You need a writer. You're not going to win. Stop.
I have a question now. When it's just you guys that hang at the cellar, and you guys are busting chops, having a good time. How did it affect the energy, or how did it change how you guys approached the show when a celebrity came on, like a celebrity comic or something?
We were the celebrities.
Well, go ahead.
Well, yeah. What do you mean? Like if a Robin Williams would come by?
Yeah, or
like
Seinfeld, or any of those.
Seinfeld came down. I'm hosting one night, right? And I never met Seinfeld before because I came in after Seinfeld was already famous or whatever. And I'm downstairs, Chappelle's on stage, and I'm waiting because I don't know how long Chappelle's gonna do. He's high, whatever. I'm like, okay, this could be. And Seinfeld comes down the steps and he's in the hallway, and it's just me and him in that little hallway. There were no bouncers back then. You had to beat the shit out of the audience yourself. So I'm standing there and I look at Seinfeld and I go, hey, Jerry. I go, I don't remember what I said, but he put his hands in my face. He went like that. And I went, ew. I was like, what? I go, did you just put your hands in my face? He goes, yeah, I'm doing my act in my head. Don't talk to me.
Oh. I
go, are you kidding me? I go, all right, whatever, dude. And then I wouldn't give Chappelle the light because I wanted him to wait there. So I let Chappelle go on and on and on and on. And then finally he's like, how long is he doing? I go, don't talk to me because I'm trying to do my intro in my head.
That's funny.
And I was so mad. I hated his guts ever since he did that to me. And then I bring him on stage and whatever the crowd was. I'm like, oh, there's another person coming on stage. He just stopped by, whatever. He had his own show. And I did it so cold. Like, you might know him as Jerry on Jerry Seinfeld. And they went, they clapped, but they didn't. And then all of a sudden they saw him and they cheered. And then when he went on and he sucked, they were like, because this was like, right? The crowd was like, they didn't cut you any slack.
Yeah.
You sucked. They didn't, I don't care who you are. So they were like, what? Because he was just coming back. He was just, so a week
And this
later,
was at the Cellar?
It was at the Cellar. A week later, I was sitting down at the table over there, like right next to the table that we all sat at, right? And my friend was with me, and I'm showing her pictures of Italy or wherever I went. And he comes walking around because he was filming that comedian.
Yeah.
Remember?
Right.
So he comes walking around and he goes to look at my pictures. And I look at him and I go, get lost, beat it. And my friend goes, was that Jerry Seinfeld? And I go, yeah. She goes, did you just tell him to beat it? I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Wow. David Tell is here. That's who you should be kissing ass to.
I went into Stand Up New York. Okay, this is when I was on Last Comic. So I had some heat then. And I walk in and I'm doing this. They go, you want to go on? I go, yeah. So I went on stage. And about 8 minutes into my set, they give me the light. And I'm on stage. I go, are you out of your mind? You're giving me the light? Do you know who the fuck I am? Yeah. I go, you're lucky I would even grace this stage. I come in here, you take advantage of this, boss. I go, I'm the biggest act these people will ever fucking see tonight. All right. If I want to do a fucking hour, you don't give me the light. So I walk off. The MC comes up and goes, and now our next comic, Jerry Seinfeld. And he opens up. He goes, I was on NBC too. Yeah, he's always listen. To me, he's always been a nice, big acts. I was never on with like Carlin or
somebody mentioned Carlin in the episode.
Yeah.
Did you just say he was a nice guy?
No, I said he's never been a problem to me. He's been nice to me. Hello.
He ignores you. He ignores you. He walks right by.
Not me. I'm Rich Paul.
Okay. Listen, I don't care. I don't think he has a show anymore, Rich.
Who? Seinfeld?
Yeah. You don't have to suck up to him.
First of all, I'm not sucking up to him. I didn't say he was the greatest comic in the world. I said he was nice to me.
He was mean to the waiters.
No. Was he?
You don't remember when he almost got his ass kicked?
Oh, by Maya's boyfriend?
Yeah. I was there. I was there that night, and I was like, oh, my God, I hope he smacks the shit out of him because he deserved it.
How come every time there's a negative Seinfeld story, you're involved somehow?
No, but here's the story. Let's tell the truth. Maya was filming her documentary of comedy.
Yeah.
And she was doing it for 2 years, whatever it was. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was all around the Comedy Cellar, right? Jerry comes in with his camera crew and tells her, you can't film because I'm filming. And she's like, what? And she's like, I've been filming here for 2 years. I'm going to film. I'm not going to stop filming. She goes, you can't film. So now he goes over her head and goes to Esty and says to Esty, tell her she can't film here. So they tell, and then Maya starts crying and to her boyfriend. And he just happens to be a heavyweight champion or whatever he was.
A heavyweight psychopath.
Whatever. But he was a boxer, wasn't he? Or something?
Kenny was his name.
Yeah, he was a big dude. He walks over. And I was at the table, and I'm like, here we go. Because Jerry was with Colin. Colin was sitting right next to him that day, and a couple other guys. And he walks over to Jerry, and he goes, get up. I'm going to kill you. Or get outside. And Jerry shit himself right at the table. I was like, yes. It was my wonderful moment. It was a moment for me that I was very happy.
Wait, when he said to Jerry, get up, did Jerry go?
No. Yeah, that's exactly what Jerry did. I think Jerry wiped himself. He shit himself because that guy was big and he was pissed. The cops came. Remember the police came? Were you there that night?
I don't remember if I was there. I don't think I was. I know the story. Everybody. I don't think I was there.
It was so great. The cops came. It was great. Jerry didn't get out of the booth. He just sat there like, I'm not getting up.
I wouldn't get the fuck up either if that psycho big monster came up and said, I'm going to beat you up.
Listen, you know what's funny? Comedians have the biggest mouths, right? But the minute an audience member or somebody challenges them, they're like,
that's not true. I had a guy rush the stage at me in Pennsylvania, and I kicked him, and he fell back down. He got up, came running at me again. I kicked him again. He fell down. Cut to 10 minutes later, he's in a police car, and his wife is outside going, you did it again.
Well, no, I had one time. Did you ever work Shooting Stars?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'm on stage, and this guy starts cursing me out. He's going, you're a cunt, whatever. And I go, is that any way to talk about your mother? All of a sudden, he gets up, and I'm like, security. And I picked up the mic stand, and I flipped it around. You know how heavy that thing is?
Yeah.
I was going to crack. He was so dry, I was going to crack him right in the head. But one of the audience members saved me.
You know the Daryl Hammond story at Shooting Star.
No, what happened?
Daryl Hammond comes up from Florida. He's a very timid. He's not Daryl Hammond SNL. He's
So he's very quiet.
Yeah, he's like Otto. He's like Otto Peterson.
He walks out. And they're fucking talking and yelling and this and that. And I mean, this is the quick version. And he says, listen, folks, if you calm down and you listen to this, you might enjoy it. And some guy stands up and yells, he's wounded. Let's get him.
Yeah, well, because you gotta explain, this is a heavy Bronx Yonkers crowd. I mean, one night I'm on stage emceeing and I hear, bitch, I'm going to pop a cap in your ass. Well, that's not what he said, but he said, I'm going to pop a cap in your ass, right? And I go, wait a minute. Nobody's popping any caps in anybody's ass because you're going to miss him and you're going to hit me. And I'm like, I'm trying to get all the guys from the bar. Somebody come in and stop the fight. It was constant, like, tension in that place. It was like
mobsters ran the place.
Mobsters ran it. You know, you had a heavy Bronx crowd that was like, they all had guns. It was like scary. If you were funny, I remember Chips Cooney. Remember when he wraps himself up in that what's that thing that
the coat?
Yeah, this crazy coat, right? And then he puts the sheet over him, and he's doing this thing, and they started throwing their drinks at him. And the fruit at him, and it was brutal.
Chips.
That Shooting Star was like working a prison yard.
Yes.
Whatever. There was so many of those fucking grandpas in Staten Island was no fucking picnic either.
No picnic.
And neither was Jimmy's Comedy Alley. Anything in the borough besides Manhattan could have been trouble.
Yeah. Well, no, the one in New Door Plaza, whatever it was in Staten Island, that was a tough one. But they were mobsters too. Guy's name was Porgy.
Okay, that's Grandpa's.
Yeah, Porgy and whatever the other guy's name was.
Augie.
Augie.
Yeah, remember, Paulie dropped dead in Atlantic City. And Augie took the club over, and every comic, when they heard Augie's taking over was like Fredo's taking over. Like what?
He liked me. Augie liked me. He would
Paulie liked me.
Yeah.
Come over, dog. Come over.
What are you talking about? At Grandpa's Club? It was called Grandpa's. So
yeah.
I mean, there was clubs we would do in Brooklyn, Toppers, Gangsters.
Do you, Rich, you remember there was another one in Brooklyn for a little while in Bay Ridge? That, what was the name of it? And it was completely gangstered up. And I was hosting it. And the owner came up to me and he goes, "You see that table? No matter what they do not react to that table."
Yes.
And they literally were talking out loud, and they were there to see one of the acts. And when he went off, they were, "Oh, he was fucking funny. How about you trying to your act?" And they're talking to you. And they were like,
that was like in Howard Beach. You do these like Fuddrucker plays. You know, they put a comedy night on, and they'd be like, "You see that table? Don't talk to them. Don't talk to that table. Don't look at that table." It's like John Gotti's brother's table. It was like, you know, you couldn't.
They were gonna shoot Bob Levy after a show I think at Toppers.
No shit.
And they were gonna beat him up. You know, he was fucking with mobs, and the owner had to fucking talk these guys down and sneak Bob out and say, "Get the fuck out of here," you know, to Levy.
God,
you know, these. Listen, some of those gigs. I did a fucking mobster place in, I don't know, it was called the Brown Derby, and this was famous mobster. I don't even know if it was in the Bronx. All I know is I'm still here now, so I said something right. But those places were fucking scary.
They were scary. They were scary. But I was the little girl. They didn't bother me. Remember, I got a great story. Butch Patrick, you know who he is? Eddie Munster.
Yeah.
He comes to Shooting Stars to do a 15-minute spot. Right, and he's dressed up like the way he used to dress on the show in those shorts, and he had the white.
Jesus Christ! They probably thought it was Angus Young of AC/DC.
Wait, so he's a grown man. He's a complete idiot, right? Now I got all the mobster owners in the bar area. I'm emceeing, and I bring them on. I go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Butch Patrick, Eddie Munster from the Munsters." He gets up on stage. And he's up maybe 2 minutes. He goes, "So, you have any questions for?" He didn't have an act. He had the Woof Woof doll and the costume. So they're like, "Yeah, did you fuck Marilyn?" And he's like, "Oh, she was good looking, but no, I was only 6 or 7." So then they go, "Oh, any more questions?" And he goes, "Yeah, did you fuck?" They just kept asking him, "Did you fuck Grandpa? Did you fuck Marilyn? Did you fuck the Lily?"
Herman.
So that was it. He had no act. So he thought he was going to get like normal people to ask him questions about the show.
Well, I'm sure when he's in the Midwest, they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
what,
right." This was like they didn't want to hear him. They were like, "Boo, shut the fuck, get off," you know. So now he turns around and I'm not even at the edge. I'm not even I didn't even get out of the room yet, and he gets off. Whatever, I go back up, I do whatever time, and then I bring Frank DeMico on. Now I go off, I'm outside, and he wants to get paid. He was supposed to get $1,500 for 15 minutes.
God damn.
So now they're not even acknowledging him. So he's coming to me, and he's like, "Listen, can I get paid? Because I got to go." And I go, "Dude, I don't know what to tell you." I go over, I go, "Eddie, this idiot wants to get paid." He goes, "Yeah, tell him to go fuck himself." He did 5 minutes. He did a minute. He goes, "Tell me he's got to get the fuck out of here." So now I go back. I go, "Listen, I don't think they're going to pay you." He goes, "I want my money." And so I go back. I go, "Give him something. You know, can you give him anything?" He goes, "Yeah, we'll give him 500. Tell him that he's only getting 500. That's all he's getting." So I go back over there. I go, "You getting 500?" He goes, "No, I want my 1,500. I go, "Do you understand what I just said?" I said, told me that they're going to take that Woof Woof doll and they're going to shove it up your ass after they beat the shit out of you with it. So you either take the 500 and get the fuck out, or you're dead. You're dead. Look at them. And then he was like, "All right, I'll take the 500. I give him the 500. I give him the 500. He leaves. An hour later, he comes back. He goes, "Can somebody push my car because it's not starting. If I can get some guys to push my car and I'll kick it into gear. Oh my God, this guy was such a mess.
Wow.
I thought you were gonna say he came back because he still wanted that woof doll up his ass.
No, this guy was crazy.
Look at the professionalism of Rich Voss right here.
He's showing us his tattoo.
Oh, I'm doing a podcast. I'll call you back I'll call you.
That's what I understand. Like, you felt the need to get out of camera shot talk.
To go back to Tough Crowd, this is to all of you guys. What was your favorite moment? And whether it is a moment because it was you in a moment with somebody or a moment that you witnessed
on Tough Crowd?
Yeah.
Well, what I did enjoy, we did a Tough Crowd special in a big theater. It was for Comedy Central, and Colin hosted Patrice, Keith,
Geraldo, right?
Geraldo, Judy Gold, Nick DiPaolo, everybody. I had to fucking close the show of fucking monsters, but just the fact that they gave him a special with all of us was really fucking cool. And I don't know. I guess it wasn't one special. It was just just a whole Tough Crowd, And I'll tell you what else. There was a little festival in Brooklyn, Skankfest, that Luis Gomez and all of them put together. Yeah. So
Skankfest, I wasn't invited.
Well, they use your headshot. So,
as long as I was there.
So one night they set up downstairs. It was Colin, Norton, Keith, Bobby, and me. And we did kind of like a couple sketches sitting down and some Q&A and a round table thing. And that was the only Tough Crowd thing we've ever done after Tough Crowd was at this. And it was maybe 75 people, 50 people in the room that got to see this. So that was pretty fucking cool because it was years later. It was 2 years ago. It was years later. So many people want Tough Crowd, can they put up the videos? Can they do this? There was so many epic fucking episodes, and it was so ahead of its time. A lot of people in the industry, would watch Tough Crowd because we were saying what they wanted to say, but they couldn't because they would lose their careers.
Right.
And there was a lot. I mean, you'd be in LA and people come up and go, "Oh man, we love Tough Crowd," and these are fucking stars, So it was I don't know.
It was kind of like a cult show.
Yeah,
it had like a cult following.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I was going to ask you guys about this. So let's start. I remember, Carrie, you talking about. It was at the time where the internet was just taking off, and I remember you getting people talking negatively about you on Tough Crowd, and it bothered you. Did you guys pay attention to that much, or was it like would people go at you guys on the internet a lot, or?
I wasn't on it that much. I was on it like
right.
He was on it all the time, so he probably got a lot more negative.
I guess what I'm asking, would you read your reviews or did?
I don't know. I mean, I remember when I was on Last Comic, this writer just kept writing negative things about me, and this was years ago. And I wrote to him. I go, "Why?" I go, "You've never even seen me live in a club. You're sitting right there." I go, what's the reason for this? I never done anything to you. And, come see me, come see my show, whatever. And then he never wrote a negative thing. But, I get negative shit nonstop still.
I think people get a charge.
I'm talking about Bonnie, though.
Yeah. Look at, see, you earned your Nestle's bar. What do you call it? You had trolls back then. You'll have trolls now. For every bad review, there's a good review. And you know what the thing is? It's both just their opinions. I just fucking block people. I just block people online now with the negative stuff. I don't remember Tough Crowd being negative because people that watch Tough Crowd, like Carrie said, was like a cult following. And would, you know, if you didn't like it, you just watch it once and bailed the fuck out. So you know,
there was a lot of inside jokes too with Tough Crowd, you know. So, but it was. I think the cult people really loved. They were the Comedy Cellar people. They were the. You know, they loved the show. It was like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You had that crowd that followed you. You know.
Yeah, and I don't remember back then, but you know, whatever you do, listen. I'm sure fucking what do you call it? Brian Regan gets negative stuff. Hey, you're too clean. Shut up. You know.
Listen, I don't care what they say anymore. Now I'm like, as long as they're still talking about me.
On Twitter, I blocked 2,273 people.
Wow.
What, Democrats?
No, I'm not Republican.
Oh, you're a liberal?
No, I'm neutral. I'm in the middle. I don't like either side.
Me neither. I agree.
Both sides have been hijacked by extremists.
Right.
And there's no such thing as moderation anymore.
It's over.
Well, how about that? The way that we are now, do you think Tough Crowd could air today? Say Tough Crowd was a new show today. Let's face it, you guys were tough on each other. I mean, there were fat jokes. There were always jokes about what people wore. Here in the woke generation, do you think they'd allow it even to be on the air today?
It could be on Netflix.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, exactly.
So Alan in the comments mentioned Colin was tough on people that went for a cheap applause break. Do you think that's gotten worse? Like, you make like a cheap political statement just to get an applause?
Look how many comics go, let's hear it for the troops.
Oh,
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. What are you talking about, Boy Scouts?
The Boy Scouts.
Richie, I was going to mention
you can't call it the Boy Scouts. Go ahead.
I don't know if Rich Voss remembers this or not, but as a striking moment on Colin, especially for a stage manager, I come in for the show the first day of that week, and the director says to me, "Listen, there's no chairs, there's no seats, nobody's sitting." And I said, "What are you talking about? Do you remember this, Rich?"
I remember when he went from the change from sitting down to standing up, and he would lean.
Yeah, and everybody was just totally baffled. Okay, we were like, "What are you talking about?" Yes, nobody sits down.
Everybody I remember that was a big change in the energy.
Yeah, it was a big change in the energy.
Boy, did we smash him!
How long did he do that for?
Huh?
How long did that last?
Until our backs hurt. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very strange. That was
I thought it was so funny because he made everybody stand and then he would lean on something.
Yeah. That was a very big moment.
Was his reasoning that comics work in stand-up? We stand when we're working? What was his reasoning for?
I honestly don't know. I think maybe he was again just trying to mix it up. He was trying to, come up with something new.
He was trying to get them ready for the fight. You don't have to get up. You're already in a fighting position.
Right.
Today you could.
What?
She's getting a phone call.
This fucking girl keeps calling. No, today you couldn't get away with touching Judy Gold's tit.
Right? She'd snap your hand off.
No, but she always used to put his hand on her tit. People would be calling in, going, "That's not right. It's Me Too." And if I had $1 for every Me Too moment I had with all those comedians.
Well, so now, not that was a.
Before, didn't you go to Kevin Hart out in the car and go, "Let me see your fucking unit"?
No. You know what happened with that?
What? No.
Let's hear.
Colin quit. We're all at the Cellar. I'm emceeing again, right? I emceed a lot there. So I'm at the table, and it's
hello. This
He
is
talks about. Wait, you talk
I'm
about
doing,
me getting a phone call.
No, they're just asking questions about it. You know, and the stage manager, it's Richie Byrne, and this. So I was just gonna put you on FaceTime and say hello. That's all. If you no. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I get a text from boss. I'm doing a tough crowd podcast, which basically is implying there's like a bunch of tough crowd podcasts around. Ask a question or something like that. And the stage manager, what? What are you talking about?
Colin, it's Seth Melman. You may or may not remember. We've run into each other a couple times.
I said,
how you doing? Good to hear you.
I didn't say your name because you probably forgot it because you've been talking for an hour.
Colin, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on and being like so present. We've been talking about Tough Crowd for about an hour now. We were just talking about all the great times you guys had. Do you have any memories that you remember, something about the show, good or bad?
Well, I remember Boss was my birthday present.
Yes.
With his ripped up abs, and that was kind of exciting for me.
Colin.
This son of a bitch had an 8-pack until he was like 48.
Yeah. Colin.
Hi, Carrie.
How are you, honey? Do you remember when I beat the shit out of you to put your cousin on the show and you had him on the next day?
First of all, don't act like maybe you badgered me, but of course I had to put him on. I had a lot of family pressure. Don't think it was just you.
Plus, Colin needed a ride to the show that day.
No, but Colin, do you remember the day we saw Kevin Hart's penis?
Yes, I had a tape recording. I was on stage taping my act, and you walked back from the bathroom, and I said, "Carrie, how is it?" You go, "It's very big, but it's multicolored."
No, that's not what I said. I had a napkin. I didn't say you were on stage. I said I wiped my forehead like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just saw. And you were like, son of a bitch. And then when you got off the stage, what did it look like? I go, it was like all different colors. It was gigantic. I go, I've never seen anything that big.
Well, what the hell did I just say? The same thing?
Yeah, but I didn't scream that while you were on stage.
Oh, yes, I asked you while you were walking back. Well, maybe I misinterpreted. Either way, it was close. I feel like that was close enough stories where you didn't have to act like I'm totally out of my mind.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Harriet said, well, basically,
Yeah, same thing.
I mean, I'm a guest on the podcast,
Okay, Colin, one more question. Were you at the table the night Jerry Seinfeld almost got his ass kicked?
Jesus.
You were, right? You were there.
I remember the whole thing.
You were sitting right next to him.
I was downstairs. I was on stage.
It's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd podcast.
Okay, but listen to me. You were at his table that night, though.
You trying to drum up business?
Colin, just before if we cut off or whatever, I just wanted to say thank you. Your show was so awesome because it inspired comics, and it really made comics want to work in a more, Rich mentioned earlier, in a more real way. And it's really cool that a show that was 2 seasons changed the way comics worked. And I think it says a lot to you and your friends.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's really for me. I don't know why they had to be included in that, but thank you.
Listen, Colin, I think we should make it like the Honeymooners. We should get all the episodes that you've done and just keep putting them out over and over again. I think everybody would love that.
Yeah. Okay, everybody on the internet. Anyhow.
Okay. Yeah, I think Boss ran out of stuff to do, and he called me.
he did lose energy, Colin, somewhere 40 minutes in.
Boss, what are you promoting? Mingles?
Love you, Colin.
I got a new one-man show. It's called Colin Quinn Has Another Show. All right.
All right, guys. I'll be at Hysterics in Farmingville. If you get a
Love you, Colin. Love you.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Guys,
See you, Colin.
Yeah, bye.
You don't thank Colin. You thank Rich Voss for that.
Well, now we'll thank you.
Well, now we'll
next subject. When you guys prepared for
How are you not closing on that, stupid?
That's
the new comic.
You want to know why? Truth be told, we have to go till 4 because a show follows us. So that was great.
Yes.
And it was a great way to go out, but we actually have to stay on this next show. So,
well, I gotta go. We've been on an hour. I'm going.
You want me to call Kevin Hart's penis now?
Let me tell you something. They were all talking about it at the table.
How big?
Hold on. Bigger than his. Put it this way. I can't even speak. We were all at the table, and when I walked over, Artie Fuqua and Kevin was saying that who's got a bigger one. So Kevin's like, mine's really big. I go, Kevin, your shoes are hanging off my, rear view mirror. That's how little your feet are. How big can your dick be? So that's when we all went downstairs. I had to bring the next comic on, which was Colin. And then I went in the bed. They were all in the bathroom. All of them were in the bathroom. Everybody was going in to see it. And when I went in, I was like, all right, let me see quick. And he's like bending it in half. And he's like, touch it. It'll get bigger. I'm like, I'm not touching it. I can't even believe it. It was 3 different colors.
The only reason you didn't touch it because he didn't run a club.
Exactly. All right. Well, guys, I got to go, but it was a lot of fun.
Carrie, thank you so much. You were great.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I really enjoyed the stories were awesome. And are we going or just Carrie? Yeah, let's just go out. I mean, I feel like that Rich is so right.
It's up to you, or I'm good, committed till 4, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I actually had a few questions for Seth.
Oh, okay. I gotta run too, though, because
they're gonna leave me alone with these two.
Well, I mean, I feel bad. I didn't know that. I thought it was an hour, and
you thought you were getting paid.
No, are you kidding me? Yeah, what a getting paid.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Listen, I'll see you Saturday, Mark. Rich, it's always fun doing this.
Rich, you've always been a good friend to us, and I appreciate the last year.
And
good seeing you, Rich.
Seth, do you have my number?
I'll get it. I can get it from Richie.
No, I meant to say good if you said no.
I'm sorry I didn't give you the line. I apologize.
Oh, God, you're so stupid.
Harry, it's always good seeing you. We've had some.
Yeah, say hi to Bonnie.
We're separated. I'm just practicing. I'll see you later. I gotta go.
Thanks,
guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, Carrie, nice meeting you.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting you, Seth. Good luck.
Nice meeting you. Thank you. Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't know how to get on. Seth, was it different doing a show with comics than other shows you've worked on, or there was no difference? I would think comics would be harder to work with in some ways and easier to work with in other ways.
Yeah, it usually is, but I have to tell you that the people that Colin had on, because the majority of them were, Colin's friends, know, so it was just like a bunch of friends getting together, I really loved that show. It was a really fun show to be on, and you'd laugh the whole time. Colin would constantly be trying to beat Patrice at basketball and never winning.
Really?
Oh yeah. Would you remember they had a basketball court there?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, Colin was constantly challenging Patrice, constantly. Okay. And Patrice was constantly beating him. I think.
Wow.
I don't want to say that because Colin might be listening and I might be wrong. Okay. There was also another time, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but Colin went out of the studio and raced somebody on the street running. Okay.
Or like, was it
I don't remember. All I can remember is, Colin was always up for challenging somebody about something.
Right.
Okay. And like the basketball or that you're running out on the street or I'm faster than you. And
well, ironically, you dealt with that with Oz for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's nobody like Oz.
Yeah. Nobody like that. But no, doing the comics was really, really fun. And I really didn't realize how many comedy shows I had done until you called me, because I started to think about it. I did the A-List with Sandra Bernhardt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was right after Comics Only. It was the same company.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I did a bunch of HBO stand-ups. I did Chris Rock, Bigger and Blacker. I did a bunch of different Jeff Foxworthy. I didn't really think about it. I did Janine Garofalo at the Hudson Theater in New York.
Wow. You know what Seth did, Mark? He did Tony Bennett's birthday in Radio City.
No shit.
Oh, that was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody was there, right?
Oh, it was just so great. The music, if you put music and comedy together, like in a show, I'll stay there all day.
Right.
I'll do those shows I would have done Tony Bennett for free. Don't tell them.
Right.
They had an incredible orchestra, Lady Gaga, Tony, Alec Baldwin. Oh, it was fantastic. It was a great show. Yeah. Great show. Great show.
Now, when we were on, I came to the Dr. Oz taping and we came on to watch you guys. You and Richie had such a great back and forth. And people in the audience that were in the audience kept talking to me and the other guy that were there watching and going, "Do you think your friend's gonna get fired?" Him and the stage manager are really going at it. And then Oz jumped in, and you guys were all three busting on each other. It was
that was really a lot of fun. I mean, Richie took a lot of grief from me. I took a lot of grief from Richie.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Took a ton of grief from Richie, but I gave him a fair share.
Yes, you did.
I would never let an open door pass by without me jumping in it.
Yes.
And Richie gave me lots of them. Okay.
So, you know what happened the first season, before Seth was there, Joey Cola, who trained me and pretty much got me the job, said, "Don't make fun of Oz." He said, "You don't make fun," because they're all there for him. Don't ever make a joke at his expense. And I said, okay. And about 3 months in, at that time, that first year, it's taking forever to shoot a show because they're figuring shit out and it takes forever. And there were times where he would just go out into the audience to talk. And he was very self-deprecating in his own way. And I remember thinking, I think I can make fun of him. And I slowly would put a joke and then put another joke. And then one day he came up to me and he said, "I love when you make fun of me. I love that."
That's cool.
I go, "I think I'm going too far." And he goes, No, I don't think you're going far enough. And I said to him, "Listen, if you want me to go further, I will, but you must laugh. Even if you're not really listening to me, you have to make them think you're okay with this or else we're dead. I'm dead in the water." So by the second season, I was killing him. And he would just laugh. A lot of times he wasn't even really listening. He'd be busy with something else. And then as time went on, Seth would start going, I think you're in a lot of trouble after this show, pal. I don't think you should be saying it. And like Seth turned it into like a thing, a banter between. Seth became like Oz's bodyguard because Oz was busy. You know what I mean? It was very funny. That's how we started playing off each other.
Right. Yeah. It worked out great.
Yeah.
It really did. It was really fun. The audience was into it. It was just great. And then, Richie would ask me the most ridiculous things. And, especially like after a Jewish holiday or something, he would ask me some question And then, of course, we get into this whole back and forth, about the Jews and what they do. And, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And I remember, now the funny thing is, Seth, this dawned on me later, was our first season together. We were, kind of feeling each other out. We didn't know each other well.
Right.
And you and I decided, you told me about Colin was doing his one-man show. And did I want to go? And that you and I went to dinner before the show.
Right.
And we talked about how you had a background in music.
Yes.
And that was the night that we put together the Dr. Oz band.
What a bad idea. What a bad idea.
I remember that. That was the night that Seth is like a really great drummer, Mark, and played in big
nice.
That's pushing it.
And I said that I used to sing, and I said we should put a band together of the crew from the show, and that's what we did. And it was at the end of that season. We did a show in Manhattan, and everybody from the show, if you remember, it was the day after the last
day after the last taping,
and everybody came. And Oz, we had to go on late because Oz wanted to introduce the band. Do you remember how cool that was?
Oh yeah, I remember.
He was late. He kept calling Tim Sullivan, going, "Don't go on till I get there. Don't go on." And he gave this great opening speech, and then he came and he sang with us. He sang with us, yeah. And we ended up doing the Dr. Oz show band, and it was the night we went to see Colin Quinn. It
was incredible. I mean, what a lot of people don't know this, and Richie and I obviously do. A lot of people in television are wannabe musicians.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You can't make it in music. Gee, what's close to music? Television. Okay. So, the audio guys were, the one audio, what was his name? Bob, who was the
Bob,
good
guitar
player?
Bob, the sound guy. Bob, what a great guitarist. Bob.
Yeah.
What was
I
his
can't remember Bob's last name. But anyway, so there was a lot of musicians on the show. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so we formed a band. It was really fun.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Josh, who now works is a cameraman, right? For Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, for Fallon. Yeah.
And Josh was also a drummer, and Seth pretty much sat out and played keyboards.
Right. When Josh was playing drums.
Josh played drums, and then Seth came in and did like 4 or 5 songs as drummer, but mostly sat in the keyboards. And that was amazing. That was so much fun. Yeah. And Mark, you never saw so many divas. Oh my God.
I bet though, because you guys work in such a professional environment that then when it's time for them to be on camera, they probably, I want the same treatment I would give.
Do you remember when Bob just packed up his guitar and walked to the rehearsal, and we never knew if he was coming back or not? We didn't know. We didn't know if he was going to come back.
Yeah.
What?
It is crazy, but so that was the night we went to see. What was it? Which Colin show was that? Was like the history. Which one was that?
The history, the history of the world type thing.
History of the world, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin was just so, and I'd run into Colin like walking downtown or something, and after the show was over, and I'd always remind him. And the moment I said, tough crowd, he'd go, "Oh, Seth, right." But it was always nice, always friendly.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And that was so nice of him to come on with Rich like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I wanted to mention to him, it was I was taking auditioning classes at the neighborhood playhouse, and I used to see him every night. And this is when Tough Crowd was on the air. And I'd see him every night come in. And I finally said to him, I was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you at the neighborhood playhouse? Like, you're already on TV." And he was like, "Oh, I got throat polyps. I'm working on my voice."
Working on my voice. Yeah, it was really fun. And I had never seen a lot of the comics. I had never seen like Rich. I didn't even know who Patrice was when I went on that show.
Mm-hmm. He launched a lot of people.
Or the Greg Giraldo, and Rich mentioned Greg. I did Greg Giraldo, his show. I did the pilots.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did the pilot. And the only thing I can remember is a sex doll. in the audience where Greg does something with the and it wasn't one of those plastic dummy ones. It was one of the real life, when you touch them, feels like the skin.
Yeah.
You know, one of those. I remember that with Greg. Patrice was
Who
unbelievable.
kept that prop?
I don't know who. It was very expensive. It was really expensive. But I did do Greg's. I think I did Greg's pilot, and it was some really fun stuff. You know, Judy Gold, all that whole crowd. Norton. I had never seen anybody like Jim Norton.
No.
Until I got there, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. You know, it was really
There
great.
is nobody like Jim Norton.
Yeah. Oh, there isn't. No.
There's nobody like Jim Norton. I mean, he and I have known each other since like 1989.
Oh yeah.
And you know, watching him grow on stage, where he became. Norton's the only guy I know who became like. That's not a character. Right. When I first saw Jim Norton do comedy, that was a character. That guy, what he was doing off stage, you know what I mean? Like he's really got that. He's out there. He's out there. You know?
So Alan is asking if Dennis Leary was really pissed at Greg, which we touched on earlier. Because Colin said, do you want me to cut it out? And Leary said, no, keep it in, when they went back and forth. Do you remember if afterwards
I don't remember if I was, I have to be honest with you. I don't remember, you know, this was first of all so long ago, but I don't remember that if I was even there that day or not.
If that was your show. Yeah.
I know I was there when Dennis was there, but I don't know if it was that show, for example, or, you know, I honestly don't remember, but what, you know, I'm just guessing from what Colin's comment was that there was a little bit of real stuff in there, a little bit of reality. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
And you know, the funny thing, Geraldo was one of the nicest human beings of all the people that were on that show.
Yeah.
When he would be the one that gets in a fight.
Hey, did you see Leary had a problem? I remember someone said to me, did you see Leary got into a thing with Greg Giraldo on Tough Crowd? I go, no, it probably wasn't Greg Giraldo. It could have been Patrice. It could have been Vaughn. The fact that it was Giraldo, you were like, really? You
Greg was really awesome. He took me on the road a couple times, and I actually introduced him on his album.
Oh, great!
I introduced him, and it was we were in Cleveland, and they didn't think he was going to make it to the show, and they had everybody stretch. And actually, Vanessa Hollingshead was on the show, who we just had on Wednesday, and they had her stretch because Greg was still in an airplane circling Cleveland when the show started. So they're like, we don't know if he's gonna make it to his own taping. And he showed up and went right on stage. He still had all of his shit with him. He went right on stage and he riffed the opening of the album as he's, you know, bitching about the Cleveland airport and all that. And it was like, no, that just happened. That wasn't like and insert town name here.
I used to do my own variety show, the Richie Byrne Show at Caroline's. And every show I had a guest comedian. And I mean, Norton did it, Voss did it, Rob Bartlett did it, Mark. I actually had Jim Gaffigan and Rob Bartlett as my two guest comedians on the same show.
Damn.
So anyway, I really wanted Giraldo. Bill Burr did it. I really wanted Giraldo. And my manager at the time called Giraldo and he said, listen, they're not going to let me do it. Caroline's, for whatever reason, they used to handle him or whatever happened. They're not going to let me do it. And I said, no, they don't tell me who to put on my show. They're not going to give me a hard time. So he called me and he goes, listen, they're going to give you a hard time. He said, you will leave them eventually. Trust me. And he goes, when you do, I will be the first guest comic you have. So sure enough, about 2 years later, I left Caroline's and went to Gotham. And I called him, and true to his word, he was the first. He said, when is it? I'll be there. And the funny thing is that my keyboard player in my band, Jay, I can't remember Jay's last name, but he was in a band that played Greg Giraldo's wedding. He did Greg Giraldo's wedding.
Oh, shit.
And he said to me, he goes, Greg Giraldo, I played his wedding, And I go, really? He goes, yeah, he won't remember me. Giraldo walks on the stage. He goes, Jay, I played my wedding. It was like, he was so fucking smart. He's just he remembered the guy. You know what I mean? And he died like 3 months later. And it meant the world to me that he did my show before he died,
Yeah,
Greg was
really
fantastic.
funny.
Seth, did you stay in contact with any of the guys? Did you have any, not that you're still in contact with them or anything like that?
With me.
Yeah, I'm not, so here's the way it works basically. As a stage manager, unless the show is really something special, okay? I'll be honest with you. I can really only think of 2 people that were technically talent that I ever really stayed in touch with. And it's not because you don't want to, or,
imagine
it's because it's like the professional social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're the stage manager, they're the talent. And, those 2
never
people
the twain shall meet,
but if you do, like, I would say, I can only think of 2 people, and that happens after years and years of something, like I did Iron Chef for like 10, 11 seasons. Right. So I became good friends with Alton Brown, who was yeah. And, I did 3 years of a very small show. I think it was on Lifetime or something called Beyond Chance with Melissa Etheridge, So, I became somewhat friendly with Melissa, more so than everybody else, to the fact where I called up Melissa's manager and I said, I'm coming down to New Orleans. I know that Melissa's playing there. Can we get tickets? Can I see her? Yeah, sure. No problem. So, but rarely do you get too close with the talent.
Yeah.
It's just kind of keeping that distance, kind of professionally.
Well, if one more person writes me and asks me if I'm warming up Jeopardy, I'm going to lose my mind.
I did Dr. Oz on Wednesday of this week.
And, you did?
Yes, and Dr. Oz was still high from doing Jeopardy. He said it was he said it was one of the greatest things he's ever done. He also said it's very, very hard. He said it's not easy to be Alex Trebek.
Well, where Mark and I and Tom, our producer, we're going to do a charity event for Tina Tung's kids' school this way. She's got a Zoom show she's doing. She asked me to host it, and I said, "Listen, let's do it this way. So we're going to do it.
Right.
But it's going to be kind of cool. I think it's going to be fun. Can I just ask you real quick before we go off about your wife and everything that's going on with? Are you allowed to talk about it at all? Or?
I'll talk a little bit about it.
Seth, those out there watching, Seth's wife is the producer of Hadestown, the Broadway musical. Which,
oh wow!
As a matter of fact, if you watched the Tonys 2 years ago, she starred on the Tonys. She was right. She was the one going up and giving the speeches, and she did everything.
So I guess you did stay in touch with some talent.
Hey, Mark, you want to hear a funny story?
Different type of talent.
Audience winning Tonys left and right for this musical that she produced, and he worked the Emmys. This idiot, he worked them.
Well, let me put it this way. So Richie and I got a lot of mileage out of that also as a thing between the two of us.
Back and forth.
Where, I was the crummy, lonely stage manager, and my wife was the big, the big Tony Award winner and all that sort of stuff. But bottom line has been, I normally do the Tonys, the Kennedy Center Honors, okay, the Metropolitan Opera, okay. All of these things are not happening, okay. So that's just in television alone. Theater, where somebody's going to, somebody you don't know is going to sit right next to you,
Right.
You're going to be rubbing elbows with that person. That's going to take a while. That's going to be a while. Okay. And so, I think we're looking realistically at September, October, November, something like that, probably.
Okay.
There's some people pushing to go earlier, but I think just from a health and safety standpoint, I don't think it'll happen. There are some shows that are happening. My wife is producing a show that's happening at the Park Avenue Armory. It's already sold out. It's a socially distant dance party with a live DJ, and you go in and dance in your little socially distant circle. It's called Socially Distant Dance Club, and David Byrne is sort of he's involved as kind of the host, but he's not there live.
Right.
But prior to you going, when you buy your ticket, you get a somehow, I don't know how, you get video dance lessons from David.
And how disappointed are people going to be when Richie pops up instead of David?
Very disappointed.
We said talking head.
But so there's some socially distant stuff happening, very creative, socially distant stuff going on.
Cool.
There's another show that is people sit in the audience, but there's no actors. Okay, it's all kind of audio, visual, kind of stuff. So they're being very creative and coming up with a lot of stuff. But from what rumblings I'm hearing, we're looking, the fall at the earliest.
Because comedy clubs in New York are opening up next Friday, right, Mark? April 2nd.
April 2nd.
So,
but you got alcohol at the comedy club. You're making some money you're selling your drinks.
Yeah.
Okay? It only can hold so many, it's not holding 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500 people,
What do you think about the TV shows? Do you think they'll go back in the fall? What do you think?
Well, I think some of them will, but I think they're going to be in some, if you watched, the Grammys or you watched any of these shows, the way they're doing them, they have to be very careful the way they're doing them. Theater is going to be more strict than television.
Yeah.
I can tell you, their rules are going to be tougher.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's we're hitting the minute marker.
Thank you. So I'm kind of glad we had Mark ever since Mark saw you when he came to
I've been dying to have you on.
Well, I appreciate the invite. I was so excited when I got the message from Richie, and especially to talk about Colin and all the great people that were involved with Colin's show. That was really a fun show. I'm so sorry it left.
Yeah, me too.
So great. Really.
Hey guys, listen, Wednesday on Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling, Greg Morton is going to be the guest. We are so looking forward to Greg Morton. And the Wednesday after that is Lisa Lampanelli. So we have two great guests coming up. Next, do we know for sure what we're doing Friday on the roundtable, Mark?
We know it's not in stone yet.
Okay, so. We're working on it, but we're working on a few ideas. So look for it on social media. We'll have that out. But this next Wednesday, 3:00 right here on Twitch. And coming up now, Gary Allen. How do you do this now?
So what you're going to do is when this show ends, hit refresh, and you're going to go on, and it'll refresh. And Gary Allen has
Anson Williams.
Anson Williams?
Yeah, I think I may make a guest appearance on the Gary Allen show. So Gary doesn't even know that, but I think I'm making a guest appearance. Anson Williams, Seth. I'm very excited about it.
You should be.
You should be.
It's good. The guy has a great director's resume. I'm really excited to hear his interview.
He does,
And also, real quick, tonight, if you're in the area, Bucks County Playhouse, I'll be performing. And tomorrow, the Jim Thorpe Opera House, I'll be there with Rich Voss. So if you enjoyed the show.
And I'm Zooming on Jim Mendrino's show tonight.
Yes, so Comedy Therapy. Go to comedytherapy.com and you can see Richie Byrne tell some jokes.
Yeah, so it's going to be
You guys are busy. You're busy.
We're really busy not making money, Seth. It's great.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. That was the round table. We will be back next Friday. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Carrie. Good night.
Colin Quinn, too. Thank you.
Yeah.